All right, so as probably evident by the thumbnail and the title of this video, when we finish this video, this will not actually be a completed picture. The idea being that I wanted two characters in there, and I was getting to the point where I could either rush and make it look bad, or I could just finish half of it and show you that, and then work on the rest of it in my own time. So I've opted for that because I want it to look good, and you can all wait. Yay. So this is the Washington Eagle. He is a parody of Captain America and also Hawkman a little bit, but mainly a lot of World War II era super soldier type superheroes. And he was genetically modified to have wings and tail feathers, and the idea being that he would be able to fly. But I decided to play with the idea that a person with wings still probably wouldn't be able to fly because their bones would be too heavy, and it would just not work the way that we think it would, like in the case of Hawkman. And a lot of comic book fans might tell me Hawkman can actually fly because his wings are made out of this super special material that can levitate, blah, blah, blah. That's not the point. The point is that Rock Washington was actually a soldier in World War II, and as he grew up, he started to have a lot of back problems because of these wings, so he ended up having them surgically removed. And the story that I wanted to tell actually picks up here with his granddaughter. So Rock Washington has a child, has a son who's perfectly ordinary person. And then his son has a daughter who, it turns out that this genetic modification where he had wings skipped a generation, and his granddaughter, Georgia Washington Audubon, is born with wings and tail feathers, and I've decided that she's a lot smaller framed, and maybe her bones are a little less dense, so she's kind of frail, but at least maybe the wings can carry her. Again, that's still not particularly scientifically accurate, but it's fiction, and I wanted to have fun with it, so, leave me alone. So the Washington Eagle is actually an interesting and really obscure story. I learned a lot about the guy that the Audubon Society is named after. He was a guy who painted a bunch of pictures of all the birds in North America, I believe it was. And some stories about him were that he didn't travel a lot, so he would have people send him specimens to paint, and some of them he didn't really have a good reference for, so he just kind of made them up. And there are a couple examples of this, but the one that I remember and the one that I used the name for is the one called the Washington Eagle, which he claimed lived in Washington State. And it is a painting of this brown eagle. And as far as anyone can tell, this bird does not actually exist and never did. So it's a bit of a cryptid in that sense. So basically made up by Audubon. And so I decided to use his name. I decided to name this character the Washington Eagle, and then Rock Washington is the name of the soldier, and he has a granddaughter named Georgia, so that I could do Georgia Washington. I'm sure that joke must have been done somewhere. Someone out there is probably named Georgia Washington, and their parents probably think they are as clever as I am. They aren't. She also, I wanted to use the name Audubon as well. So Georgia Washington Audubon is the younger, the new generation of superheroes, I suppose. It's that kind of story where there's the older generation and the younger generation. But unfortunately, and I will spoil this now, if I haven't already, that you won't actually see the finished rendered version of her by the end of this video. Like I said, I would much rather take my time, and I've noticed that as I'm recording myself draw, I have the habit, which I'm getting better at, but I have the habit to rush, and I don't want to do that anymore, so I've decided it's cool if I just finish half of this and do like a part 1 thing, and then everybody can be excited for the second part. Or you can all tell me we don't care about this character, stop working on that one, and I'll say no, because I'm spiteful. But also that doesn't necessarily mean that the next video I put out will be the follow-up to this one. It just means that I will continue to work on this one going forward. And even the finished video, or even the finished rendered version of Rock Washington here, you'll see at the end I do a little background for him that's just pretty much slapped together, and it says to be continued at the end. Oh, spoilers. But it'll say to be continued at the end. And that will be what I'm calling the finished render of this, but probably I will tweak things and fix things with him even as I go. So there it is, to be continued, the Washington Eagle, soon to be joined by his granddaughter, Georgia Washington Audubon. Thanks.